A lot has been said about the life and times of Texas native Buddy Holly. We know he began his career on the radio in his hometown of Lubbock, Texas. We know that he played local gigs with his band, the Crickets. But only the most loyal fans know about the long rehearsals at J.I. Allison's home, or the earliest gigs on the steps of a local grocery store. Though his well-known roller rink engagement was immortalized in a movie about his life, not much is said about his pivotal concert at Lubbock's Fair Park Coliseum, or the local radio station where he was first heard over the airwaves. There's lost Buddy Holly history all over Lubbock, and today we're going to find it.
Texas is full of lost history, from lost cemeteries to abandoned buildings, from the infamous to the obscure. Hitch a ride and travel across the Lone Star State, looking for hints of Texas' colorful past, our lost history. This is Expedition Texas, and we're gonna find it.
We're in Lubbock, Texas on a mission to explore as many locations as we can find associated with the early days of rock and roll legend Buddy Holly. It's only natural to begin with a stop to take a look at Lubbock High School, where Buddy formed his first music group. And every group has to have a place to rehearse, and in those early days, that was at the home of drummer J.I. Allison. It's there that we'll meet up with our guide, Jackie Bover, curator of the Buddy Holly Museum. Jackie Bover is in charge of the Buddy Holly Center and Museum. She's a walking encyclopedia of Buddy Holly information.
I guess it kind of started here, right?
It kind of did. Buddy was born here in Lubbock in September of 1936. Grew up, typical boy, loved to hunt and fish. He was an average student, but really excelled in the vocational arts. Music was a particular favorite interest of his from a very early age. Loved to play all sorts of musical instruments. He was sort of touted to be a shy child, except when he was on stage, and he often said he would sing anywhere there was a mic.
Adjacent to the living room where we met up with Jackie is a large bedroom. This is where Jerry Allison and Buddy Holly had their first rehearsals and wrote their first hit song. In late spring 1953, the John Ford film The Searchers played in Lubbock. Buddy Holly and Jerry Allison saw that movie together and loved a particular line repeated by John Wayne at least 5 times in the film.
That'll be the day.
After seeing the movie The Searchers, Jerry and Buddy wrote the future hit song That'll Be the Day right there in this bedroom at this house.
Here we are in J.I.'s bedroom. When he was growing up in this room, he actually shared this bedroom for the first year that he lived here with his older brother. And then his older brother went to college, so he had this big space all to himself.
Yeah, nice.
But he had a piano in the room. It was a really wonderful place to be if you liked music.
A great spot to practice and put together a band that would go on to become a huge sensation. That's awesome.
Exactly.
During this time, Buddy and his band were performing anywhere they could get a gig. And one of those regular gigs was on the front steps at a local grocery store called Stennett's Food Market. The grocery store has been closed for years and has since become another business, but the sign still remains.
We're here in front of the old Lawson's roller rink now.
And Buddy and his bandmates played here off and on for different school functions.
We're in Lubbock, Texas, exploring locations where Buddy Holly spent his early days honing his skills as a performer. Our guide is Jackie Bover. After showing us the childhood home of Cricket's drummer J.I. Allison, we're headed next door to check out the Buddy Holly Center. The Buddy Holly Museum has some pretty impressive artifacts on display, most surprising of which is the glasses Buddy Holly was wearing when his plane crashed. That's almost as impressive as the giant pair of glasses sitting out on the front lawn.
So here we are in the lobby of the Buddy Holly Center.
Wow, look at this sign.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I love this. There's a big old neon sign with the Strat there. That's so cool. You guys have a museum here?
We do. We have the world's largest collection of artifacts and memorabilia of Buddy Holly on display at one time.
So what are some of the highlights in the museum?
When visitors come, they can look at things from Buddy's youth, the set of marbles that he played with, the slingshot that he made, some drawings that he did as a child, some of his school papers. Then you can move on to things that he had as an older child, his rifle, his fishing tackle, a baseball mitt, his record collection, and then we go into a series of recording contracts, some radio station equipment, the contact lenses that he tried to wear unsuccessfully, a couple of his guitars, and also the aerial Cyclone motorcycle that he purchased in Dallas after he returned from one of his East Coast tours and drove back here to Lubbock in a thunderstorm.
Wow. Now, is it true that the glasses recovered from the crash site are in your museum?
They are. Visitors will notice that the lenses have been broken out. The right stem of the glasses was broken, but has been repaired. But you can see the nicks and scars around the edges of the frames. They were retrieved from the crash site the day after the plane crash, and placed in an evidence locker in the sheriff's office there in Mason City, Iowa. And they were kind of forgotten about for nearly 20 years. It was 20 years before they were returned to the family.
So gift shop, all kinds of neat things for Buddy Holly fans to come see here.
Exactly.
But now we're going to see the places that we normally try to see on the show. Understand that the dairy here in Lubbock, Gandy Dairy, still has the roller rink building, using it as I think some sort of warehouse now. So we have access to go see that, the exterior of it.
Okay.
Also the Fair Park Coliseum, where he played the show and was discovered by Decca Records, got signed to them.
Yes.
Awesome stuff.
Okay.
Well, let's go take a look at these things.
All right.
All right. If you've seen the Buddy Holly story, you know that in the film they show him playing a regular weekly gig at a local skating rink. The building in the film wasn't the real thing, but the real building does still exist. It's now a storage building for a local dairy, and Jackie took us to see it.
So we're here in front of the old Lawson's roller rink now.
We are. At one time it was the American Legion Youth Hall, and Buddy and his bandmates played here off and on for different school functions. And it wasn't until probably the fall, November of 1956, that he was actually given a contract to perform here every weekend.
Really?
So he had a regular gig here.
It's a weekly thing.
Yes.
And you know, I'm kind of celebrating that we're here. I've got my Buddy Holly glasses. I got these at your center.
I like the choice of eyewear.
Good. So we'll just wear these for the rest of the episode.
There you go.
I wonder if the talent comes with putting these on.
I think it takes a little more practice than that.
No. All right, so we're on to the Fair Park Coliseum.
Correct.
Can't wait to see that one. You said that one is actually still a functioning venue.
It is.
Awesome.
Not quite as frequent as it was in Buddy's day, but we do still use it several times a year.
This one, you can't skate here anymore,
No,
right?
not at all. Haven't been able to since the 60s, I
Really?
believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is now a part of a dairy.
Right. Gandy's Dairy owns the building currently, and they're using it as warehouse storage.
Which is why we're not in there.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, this is the building, and this is the lady that knows.
Back in Buddy's day, I mean, Elvis was here, Ferlin Husky, Johnny Cash, Bill Haley, and the Comets.
Wow. We're in Lubbock, Texas, exploring the early stomping grounds of rock and roll legend Buddy Holly. We've seen Buddy's high school, locations of his earliest gigs, and the bedroom where he rehearsed and wrote one of his biggest hits. Now we've been given access inside a location that was pivotal to Buddy's career. At Lubbock's Fair Park Coliseum, Buddy performed several shows. One of those performances caught the attention of a talent scout for Decca Records.
So this is the old Fair Park Coliseum. What a huge building.
It's very large. At the time, it was one of the largest venues in town where they had a lot of concerts. In fact, Buddy's high school graduation was held here in May of 1955. The structure was built in 1954, and the first concert that occurred here was in January of 1955, and Elvis was here in concert at that time, yes.
Buddy Holly played the Fair Park Coliseum many times. He also attended many shows there, and one of the shows he saw was a young Elvis Presley, and I'm sure that only fueled his desire to get involved in this new thing called rock and roll. Jackie was able to take us backstage to see the old dressing rooms. These are the same dressing rooms where all these stars, all these legends would get dressed before their shows, including Buddy Holly.
Oh, wow. This is awesome. So this is the old dressing room at the Fair Park Coliseum.
It sure is. A real blast from the past.
Definitely. I bet some big names have been up in here.
Quite a few. Back in Buddy's day, Elvis would have used this space. Johnny Cash, Slim Whitman, Ferlin Husky, Bill Haley and the Comets also visited here.
Wow. And I bet they all took a shower right over here. Look at this. Huh. Oh, we got their star mirrors here to get dressed and get their makeup on.
Probably the only thing that's changed are the light bulbs.
Yeah, this probably is a little after the 50s.
I do remember them being those big globe lights that used to be in here.
Yeah.
The stage at the Fair Park Coliseum is massive and pretty much unchanged from the 1950s when Buddy Holly played there.
In the fall of 1955, he gave 2 performances, and at both of those performances there was a gentleman in the audience by the name of Eddie Crandall. Eddie Crandall was here because one of the stars that he represented was performing here by the name of Marty Robbins, and he was very taken with Buddy's energetic and enthusiastic performance, really liked his stage presence and how he infused excitement into the crowd and stuff. And it was after seeing Buddy perform here that he actually contacted Buddy's local manager and said that he thought he could get Buddy a contract with Decca Records.
Wow. Wonder if that would work for me if I could come out here and perform, maybe get discovered.
Well, that'll be the day.
And I see a truck here, somebody's here, so I'm gonna go in and see if we can see the old room where Buddy Holly recorded and was actually on the air here. We're in Lubbock, Texas, exploring sites related to rock and roll legend Buddy Holly. Most of the places we've seen can still be visited and are, for the most part, open to the public. But now we're going to try and see one of the most important factors in Buddy's success, a little piece of lost history that few have seen. We found out that the radio station where Buddy Holly's music was first heard is still standing on the edge of town. And not only that, it's still in operation. So we decided we had to go see that. Now, we hadn't planned on going, so we didn't know if we would be meeting anybody there or not, but this one was definitely worth a try. So this building is the old KDAV AM 580 studio, and I see a truck here, somebody's here, so I'm gonna go in and see if we can see the old room where Buddy Holly recorded and was actually on the air here. We couldn't get into any of the doors because the doorknobs had been removed, which we later found out was just because they were changing them out. But I heard music from the inside, so I knew someone had to be in there, so I managed to jimmy one of those doors open and get inside. They might be on the air. Hello? That's what we're looking for right there.
see somebody. See somebody.
So we essentially broke into a radio station and surprised the DJ. Fortunately, he wasn't angry about that and was happy to show us around.
I'm Bob Malden with Expedition Texas.
Bob, how you doing?
Hey, and you're?
Wade Wilkes.
Wade, okay, so we're sorry to barge in on you like this. You're not in the middle of something, are you?
No, just doing a little production, but no big deal.
Okay, we want to see, as I'm sure everybody does, the room where Buddy Holly recorded, and I understand even the old transmitter is still here?
Yes, it is.
The old tower?
It is.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have just a few minutes so we can see that?
Yeah, let's go check it out.
Awesome.
All right.
I'll follow you, man.
Okay, come this way. So, here is the, and really this is the part of the old station, and it's not really fixed up to Buddy Holly standard, if you will, on this side. But over here, kind of in this area, we have thrown together, I say thrown together, some of the things that you might have seen, or if you were out here in the late 50s at AM 580 Studios, you would see some of this type of equipment. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, in 57 years, this stuff is ancient.
Yeah, right.
You can't even find it anymore, but it's just a little snapshot of a display, if you will, when people want to come out and take a look around.
Old control boards, reel-to-reel turntables.
Right.
Wow. You check your transmitter readings.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So this would have been a control room.
Yeah, there used to be a wall here, actually, and so probably the way it worked is, and again, I wasn't around then, and I don't think you were either.
No.
That's a while back, 57 years, but they would come in, set up all their drum sets, their guitars, and then in there you had a control operator through this window here that would, and they'd probably have stand-up mics that would say, okay, we're going to go on air in 3, 2, 1, and they would just come on and do their Sunday dance party.
Yeah.
So Buddy Holly and the Crickets, they would just.
So this would have been the.
This probably would have been the engineer or board op room.
Okay.
Where the guy that was controlling the knobs on the board.
Oh, okay.
And getting them on air.
Okay.
It's entirely possible, because I'm not for sure. It's entirely possible that maybe Buddy Holly maybe sang in here, the band was here, and then the board op was through that window.
Yeah.
I don't know, because radio stations, the configurations of radio stations change constantly.
Right.
But I do know that this general area is where all that took place.
Okay. Great. So I understand the old transmitter.
Yeah, it's right back this way.
Okay. We'll follow you.
So here we have what a lot of people really love to come see, Bob. This thing has seen more history on this radio transmitter than I guarantee you any other place in America. The voices of Buddy Holly, Waylon Jennings, Elvis Presley, those huge names. They all went filtered through this old Gates 1953 transmitter.
That old transmitter, gosh, the voices that had passed through the electronics in that thing, those old tubes, I don't know, that was just pretty impressive to me. The rock and roll hits and the tragic end of Buddy Holly's career seem to be the focus of most of the stories about this music legend. It's true that his music inspired other acts, most notably the Beatles. His death inspired one of the greatest folk rock songs of all time. His early days in Lubbock, Texas are largely overlooked by all but the most devoted fans. Texans, though, are proud of our rock and roll legend. Down the road, there's another legend waiting to be discovered, and on Expedition Texas, we're going to find it.